Welcome to Trucker Talk Radio. You're on with Jay and Jay, John Vogt here, and Justin Holden. It's February 10th. I'm in Tampa, and Jay is in Memphis, just outside of Memphis. And we were just talking before we got on the air here, talking about the Super Bowl and how boring it was. I ended up watching um, the last quarter in bed, and I was in and out. It was painful to watch. I wish I would have put money on the Chiefs not scoring in the first half. Would
Oh
have made a fortune.
yeah, it was rough. I sat there and was hoping all the way through halftime. Hey, they're gonna get it going. They always start slow, but it just seemed to get worse, and they had no answer, and it was like their offensive line. I mean, they didn't have a chance. So Mahomes just didn't have a chance to do much anything. He was rushed, and they didn't run the ball in the beginning, which
No,
make no sense. Which it's kind of hard to question Andy Reid on anything when it comes to offense because he's such a offensive genius. But it was, I knew I had a buddy call me yesterday, asked me about the game. He asked me who I liked. I said I really wanted Kansas City to win for the three-peat and the story. I said, but
yeah,
that run offense of Philadelphia, uh, and then if you even slow it down, which they did, I mean they kept the running back in check. But Hurts throwing the ball, I thought that they were just going to overpower, but I never would have thought in a million years they would have turned into a snooze fest.
yeah. I mean, it was unbelievable. I had buddies tell me, they were like, it's either going to be a blowout by the Eagles or Kansas City's going to win it in OT. Um, So I mean that's a pretty big difference there. But
Yeah,
and then the halftime show, I'm just gonna come out and say it, it was miserable.
it
It
was.
was miserable. You saw a clip of Serena Williams, and I don't know if that was to get back at Drake. I guess there's something going on between.
Yeah, that's his ex. That's I heard.
Oh, it's his ex. So I guess he's like making a statement on it. But I was bored out of my mind, and I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah, there was
And
no
and my
music.
buddy said to me, he was like, "You got to understand, Jay." He's like, "This is not for you. It's not for your generation. You know how your parents used to get pissed off when
Yep,
you had Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre on, or Eminem, or and then their parents got pissed off when they had Elvis on and the Rolling Stones,
yep.
and so it's not for us, and I guess that makes sense, but."
No, you're
And it was just so boring.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Because my daughter asked me, who was playing halftime, and I told her, "Let me know, let me know. I'm gonna come sit." Would she come and sat? And I didn't know anything about the dish track. I mean, I don't have time to keep up with that kind of stuff as busy as we are. And she was
Yeah.
explaining all about it and what the song was about, and I had no clue. And she was heyday over, and I'm like, "This is terrible. You can't hear any music. You just hear him mumbling about a
Yeah.
songs. There's no, like if you've got Aerosmith or you had those type of bands on there, you heard music, and with them singing, and it just I don't know, it's just a bad
I,
old.
I feel bad. I didn't even know who Kendrick Lamar was. I didn't even know who he was.
I'm up on you on that. At least I do know who he is. I'm a little
And I enjoy hip hop. I enjoy that. But I just like, I mean, I guess now my kids say, I like the old stuff.
right.
I mean, I like,
Yeah,
yeah.
buddy. But yeah, I mean, it worked to get the youth to look because my daughter won't watch a television with me about a ball game in a heartbeat. But she was in there for the whole halftime and asked a few questions about the actual game. But yeah, it's all about, is he going to sing it? Is he going to sing it? Is he going to dish him? And it was just like that's all it was about. And I'm like,
Well, and I thought, so at the end, it says game over in the stands. And I was like, this is like a game theme, like a video game theme, and my daughter was like, no, it like has to do with Drake, and she's 10.
well, mine's 15, so that's about right. They keep up all that stuff. They got all their time on their hands, I guess.
Yeah, they got all the time in the world. But anyway, so yeah, it was a boring game. I was bored to death. I'll tell you, I just I wanted to see the 3-point three-peat. I wanted to see Mahomes win it. And was Taylor in the stands? Maybe that was the problem. Taylor wasn't in the stands.
Was in the stands and she got booed bad.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because she's an Eagles fan.
No, she's a
Or
Chiefs fan.
well, before I know, but before she got with
Yeah.
Kelsey,
Yeah.
she was a diehard. Her and her dad were diehard Eagles fans.
Yeah. And it seemed like there was overwhelming Eagles fans there overall. It seemed like
It
the
did.
it,
Yeah. Yeah,
now,
they made it known. They
yeah,
made it known they were there. And those fans are some scary fans too.
yeah.
I've been in what is it? Is it Lincoln Financial Field?
Hmm,
I've been
yep.
there in Philly when I was watching the Bucks, and my buddy who took me said, "Just don't wear red." So just they were moving fans like halfway through the game to protect them. They were like, you got to go. We'll put you to another section so you can be safer."
Yeah, she did. She got booed pretty good, and of course Trump was there too. And of course he got
Yep.
a pretty big ovation, which was nice. I know he probably had his reasons for going, which he's a big sports spectator.
I
Anyway,
want to say I think he's the first
first
president,
president. Yep.
yep,
He is.
to go to a Super Bowl, which is hard to believe.
I know, because I mean, there's even been presidents go to NASCAR. I know Ronald Reagan, I believe, went to one of the Daytona races. Years and years ago. I think it was Richard Petty's last actual race, and then of course, I know the Bushes have been to World Series games because he used to own one of the
You
race.
know, yeah, the Rangers, right?
Yeah, so to have it to where NFL being America's sport, you would think there'd have been a politician there at some point because the Super Bowl is its own monster. I mean,
Right.
I seen a guy walking around asking what they paid for tickets. The cheapest one I heard was $4,900.
Yeah.
Was the cheapest.
Yeah, I'm surprised they even got that cheap. I heard it was over 5,000,
Mm,
and that's just unbelievable. Do you hear what they paid for the advertising? You hear what the ads started
yeah,
at?
crazy.
$8 million for a 30-second ad.
They can come give that to us. I believe we could get them more back. Hey, we'll give them a lot.
That's right. We'll take $8 million for your ad. This is brought to you by Trucker Talk Radio is brought to you by whoever you want. $8 million. We'll
Amen.
say it.
Man, yeah, I'll wear a shirt with a name on it too. But
Hey, before we get off of sports here, I saw your Florida Gators win against Auburn,
yep, that's the second number one
beat
team.
the number one team in the country.
Yep, that's the second time this year. We're one of, I think, the four schools to ever do it, and we're the only school to do it twice. But we did it in football one year, in basketball. So
Yeah,
we're a number one
yeah,
like this year. And
yeah. Well,
worry
we
about.
beat you. I'm a Kentucky grad. We beat you
Oh yeah,
this
yeah,
year. And well, we this year we didn't win football, but we won the last 3 years, I think.
yeah. Y'all tore us up in football. That's for sure. Which is
Yeah.
good to see because
So,
it's one of the nicest football stadiums I've ever been to. And I've been.
oh, you think? Yeah, it's a little smaller, but
Yeah,
it is one of the nicer ones.
it is. It's nice. But a funny story on that Auburn game. Do you know students and fans actually camped out for 4 days for tickets?
I heard that.
Yep,
Yeah.
just to get the book.
That's normally a Kentucky thing. That's
Yeah,
normally not a Florida Auburn thing.
exactly. So,
But I guess they're talking about now. There, someone mentioned. I don't know if it was on ESPN or some podcast. They mentioned Bruce Pearl maybe considering the Indiana job.
oh, really?
Yeah.
I probably do Auburn
So
good.
Indiana, well, Indiana's been down. They've been down
Yeah,
for years, so
years.
they can't get it right. So
No.
anyway, so here, let's go into trucking. What we're going to talk about, but just talking about, we were talking about before some of these trends. It looks like things are shifting up in the market. It looks like line haul rates are improving. Van rates are improving. Van rates are, I think, approaching about $1.85 a mile now, which, I know a lot of drivers don't say that's no good, but, and that's spot market rates. So they're going to be lower than contract rates, but it looks like the market is improving for 2025, and rates should continue to go up.
Yeah,
So
I think so. I've talked every day with a couple of my fleet managers, and they've all said the same thing. It looked like trending was better, and of course our numbers are better than what they were pre-COVID, which I think is a
Yeah,
big
it was. I was looking today, and I tell drivers this all the time when I talk to them. Like, remember what it was like. What was it? April of 2020. It was the rates were. I was just confirming it today. It was like $1.18, $1.20 a mile. It was bad. It was
yeah,
real bad. And then mid-April, just a couple weeks later, it skyrockets.
like over.
Um, yeah, and then everybody forgets. Everybody forgets, and they.
And two, I think a lot of that has to do with we had such an influx of people become owner operators during that time because they seen the money. Everybody heard, oh, I'm doing this, I'm making this. Hey, there ain't no rules. We can just drive all the time because of the situation. And they were making money hands over fist, but they didn't realize that their truck payment was three times as much as a normal guy. And then when the balloon bust, they realistically need it to be 275 a mile to for them to per se make any money because their trucks are so out of priced. And but like I
Right.
said the last show, there's money to be made. You gotta want to
You
do.
got to run, and you got
Yeah,
to do things that other guys won't do, and you got to. I go back
fine.
to it. You got to be a yes man. You
That's
got
right.
to you got to be willing to go. You don't have to go into Manhattan. You don't have to go into downtown Philly, but you got to run where other guys won't run. If you're just going to run across I-10, you're not gonna get
Nope.
what's possible. And in this market, it is possible to do really well. And that's what these guys, they'll talk to somebody on the road, and they'll talk to their buddy who's a trucker, and they'll say, hey, I'm doing really good over here. But what they don't understand is their friend or the person they met on the road is putting in the work. There is no get rich quick deal.
Right. No, it's a not an easy road and not an easy living, but it's one that a lot of people do enjoy. I mean, it's like I told a young guy the other day that was wanting to get into trucking. I said, "Man, what you need to do is go learn how to be a company driver. Get your year or two under your belts." I said, "Go purchase you a truck. Don't purchase a house. Drive, see the country, make all the money you can make. Go see the Grand Canyon. Go see the sequoias, the redwoods. Uh, Go see Miami, Seattle. Up in Maine. Go see those parts of the world. When you want to take a 4 or 5 days off, tell your dispatcher, hey, I want to go to the Grand Canyon. Let me find me a load that gets me within a couple 100 miles. Drop your truck, go rent you a car, go see the place for a little bit. Rest up, get back at it. I said, do that for 10 years. You'll have more than enough money to come home in your early 30s, start a family, have you a house, then get you a family. These guys that want to come in and have got 3 or 4 kids, they don't want to
Yeah.
be away from home. And I get it. I'm a single dad. I'm what I call a super dad. I do everything. Mom, dad, grandparents, all is me. And I get it. I've got to be there. But, I don't have a woman in the house that can help. And I get it. I want to be home. Don't want to miss this of your kids growing up. But you got to realize what industry you decided to be in. And if that's what you're going to do to make a living, to make a good enough living for your kids, you can't be local and expect to have money and eat your cake too. I guess is a good way to put it.
Yeah, and you got to put in the time no matter where you're at, right? You gotta like work your way up the ranks in most situations. I mean, I was managing trucks out in the oil fields, and I tell guys, I'm like, you got to be here for longer than 2 weeks the guy that's been here for 5 years, who's grossing 8 grand, he put in the time. He also didn't leave over the last 5 years and he went through the roller coaster ride. I mean, it's ups and downs. It's not, it's,
Most
there's
definitely.
going to be weeks, especially in the oil fields, there's going to be weeks where the wells shut down. There's going to be
Mm-hmm.
weeks where you have 2 and 3 loads, and then there's going to be other weeks where you have 21 loads. And you've got to go through those ups and downs and then when that dispatcher or the company owner or whatever, whoever it is with the carrier, goes and they have like a limited list of loads available, guess who they're going to give them to? They're going
Yep.
to give them to the guy who's been here for 4 and 5 years.
Dependable. That's right.
Yep, who's dependable, who's loyal.
Yeah. I tell guys
There's
time they'll call me, well, I want this type of load, and like for instance, I get a lot of people call me and ask me about auto parts. Auto parts is a big thing, good gross and paying loads. Well, the first thing I say, like, look, whoever has that account already has everybody on it because it's a good account. Second, they've got
right.
a handful of truckers underneath those that are waiting on one of them to quit, retire, truck breakdown. They're going to slide in. So for you to think you're going to go in and get that, you're going to go to the bottom tier. There might be an A,
Right.
B, C. You're going to be starting in C. Then when somebody gets bumped to A, you can be bumped to C. It don't work where you can just walk right in and get it because, first of all, any account that's a great account, which people just drool over, they're protected so much by the company, the broker, the dispatcher, whomever. I mean, that's their livelihood and comfort. They're they're not just going to hand it to somebody they don't know any of their
Right.
work history. They can see that, okay, you worked here for a year. Okay, well, we don't know if you are always a problem issue. Did you say yes or no all the time? Was you late a lot? Because you just regular report don't show that. And I wouldn't hand my most special lane to the first guy that came back, first new guy I got, because you could screw it up and lose it for good. Because nowadays,
Yeah.
competition, you don't have to mess up much anymore for somebody to go, well,
Yeah, and those numbers, I mean, those stats that especially when you have a good account, when you have a good customer account, the people who are in charge, the account executives who are looking over that customer account, the customer is delivering numbers to the account executive, or whoever's in that role, and that on time percentage, all those stats, missed loads, accepted loads, rejected loads, all those numbers mean something, and a lot of drivers don't understand what goes on behind the scene just to make that one load happen, to make those 10 loads a week that are on a consistent basis happen. That customer places a lot of trust in that carrier, and you know if the drivers can't be trusted, they don't show up on time. It's extremely difficult to get that freight and keep it.
yep,
And it's so cutthroat. There's always some carrier coming in behind looking to cut that rate.
yep,
And drivers out there, if you are on a good lane, do whatever you can to schmooze that customer, because you want that customer to be like, I am not going to lose driver Joe Smith.
that's
No
right.
matter what it takes, I want Joe Smith on my loads because he picks up on time, he delivers on time, he comes in and says hi, his trailer's cleaned out every time.
Yep, clean.
That's who you want to be. That's who you want to be. And you going out and building that relationship. So then when you run into a problem, or you run into something, there's a problem with your truck and you need help with maintenance funds or something like that, the carrier more times than not is going to do whatever they can to
Yep,
make sure that you stay running with their stickers on the side of the truck. They're going to do whatever they can to help you out.
that's right.
So, make it so that it is next to impossible for a carrier to lose you. And if you were to say that, hey, I'm going to XYZ carrier over here, that your current carrier is going to do whatever they can to fight for you.
That's right. That's one thing I think that gets lost by an owner operator not understanding that they are truly a business themselves. They're an individual, but even if they're leased on or running their own authority or whatever, they are their individual business. And you made great points. If you go somewhere to a delivery or pickup, and you don't even have to do something to stand out in a positive way, because it goes so far in knowing who you are, because you're representing yourself. Clean truck, clean yourself up, decent clothes, talk professional, don't throw a fit if something's not going your way. Bite your tongue.
Right.
Just, yes sir, no sir, whatever we need. Then call your dispatcher to argue, to figure out what went wrong. Don't take it out on the customer per se. Do be professional, because you never know the opportunities that will come from any one person that you speak to. And I'm a prime example of that. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. I've been blessed. I've never truly had a boss that, paid
Right.
me a check. I've been, just like a truck driver, 1099 guy. And I try to respect everybody. I don't get along with everybody, don't get me wrong. And I don't agree with everybody a lot of times. But I've always tried to present myself as knowledgeable, and an opportunity to learn at any moment. Somebody wants to teach me something, and represent myself, because you never know that person you speak to. And me and you is a great example of it. We started talking about an agency and different things, and we've grown and got respect, and respect each other's work ethics, and it's turned into a podcast and these other things we're doing. You just never know what
You
that
never know.
is going to
Right.
lead to in trucking or anything. I mean, that's a big issue that I seen definitely when I was dispatching back a couple years ago, that these guys would, they would ask you to get in the trailer and just help move a pallet up. Okay, yeah, it's no touch freight, but is it worth raising Cain over helping somebody for 5 minutes to move the pallet up with a pallet jack, or to help spin it around so they can get the pallet jack? Yes, it's their job. I get it. But those little things add up over time, and you make impressions not only with the customer, but with your dispatcher, and as you said, the agent owner and the company you're leased on to, because as you said, you're going to want money at some point for some type of maintenance. And if
You
you
are.
out of the way, there's a lot more chance you're going to be able to get a $2,000 or $3,000 loan to get your truck, out of the shop, or a tow, or any of that kind of stuff.
Well, and take that opportunity too, like you said, a shipper comes to your door and asks you to help, move a pallet, or help with something with your load, getting it off the truck or on the truck. Take that opportunity, see it as an opportunity to go out and talk to that guy, find out about their freight. Information is power. I mean, go taking that and back to your dispatcher and saying, hey, or sales guy at the office, and saying, hey, there may be an opportunity here. We like this freight. I just spoke with this guy helping him on offload. Now Roger's got a good name with that shipper, and now you've just given the account executive the ability to go in and say, hey, I saw, I heard Roger helped you out with the load today. Um,
That's true.
we picked up on time. He's going to be good for his delivery. How can we go about getting some more freight, and working closely with you guys? And that's how business is built.
That's right. Exactly. And two, the guy that moved that pallet, guess what? He's going to be first in line for anything they get. You know,
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
you're going to get rewarded, for doing that, because you're right. That's a great point on being able to get in the door, because it gives them something to talk about when they get there.
Did you see this? Well, I told you about it earlier. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it, but um, so this company Kodiak, we were talking about frac sand. How I used to dispatch trucks. Every time I see autonomous trucks or robo trucks, driverless trucks, you usually see those companies go out of business. But then there's always the next one behind them. There's always investors looking to get in on that autonomous
Uh-huh.
AI powered, you know, truck or piece of equipment,
Oh,
whatever it may be. So
yep.
Atlas Energy, they're a big company, that works in the oil fields out in West Texas, and they're using a company called Kodiak Robotics,
Mm-hmm.
for the first driverless trucks. They have run, so these loads are generally anywhere from 35 to 75 miles. Most of them don't get to a 100-mile run. They have ran 100 loads driverless in the Permian Basin in West Texas and eastern New Mexico. Um, that's the most. I saw Walmart did some things um, with platooning trucks and
Mhm.
having a lead truck with a driver in. And these trucks are essentially, I don't know if they use a magnetic field or what they were doing, but these trucks would basically follow behind the lead truck. They were doing that, and I believe Walmart distribution centers. But I've never seen anything like this where they've gone and done 100 loads of frac sand, which means they're driving on lease roads, they're driving on roads that aren't even, sometimes they're not even listed,
Right.
one on like a GPS. So I don't know how they did it, but I mean, 100 loads is substantial with two
Yeah.
trucks.
Yeah. No,
So
that is.
it's
It is.
gonna get there. It used to be like when this first came out, it used to be that like in order to have a driverless car or a driverless truck, you had to have like these wires along the outside of the road to kind of like guide they were like sensors on either side of the road to
Right.
and they were maybe waist high. They tested them out in California, and I was like, well, that's going to take a ton of infrastructure. But now, I mean, now they've already got taxi cabs, Ubers driving
Yeah.
completely driverless, and they seem to be doing pretty well. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be mishaps, but you got to think it's probably safer overall. But then what does that mean for driver jobs? I mean, I would imagine you've still got to have some drivers available for local and regional stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe not. Maybe
Well,
not.
you think about it. As many people as I talk to a day, the two drivers that are hardest to recruit to go back to what I consider regular trucking is your frac sand guys and your container port guys. Those guys, they make really good money. They have wear and tear on their truck. They do a lot of seating, especially in fracking. So it's a hit or miss on what day you get them or what mood they're in. But it's good
Yeah.
money. If these trucks can come in and take over like a lot of that, it's going to, of course, save the oil company a good bit of money because it ain't going to cost them per load as much as they were paying some of these guys. But yeah, where do those guys go? Because those guys that are doing that job right now can't make that money OTR,
Right.
and they don't want to do OTR. So if they can develop, which we know the infrastructure is there, it seems like, and the technology, and it seems to get better day after day. And I think this is a testament of showing that. And if they can do 100 loads in that period of time, it's only going to give them more data to expand that to do
Right.
more. And
Yeah, they already say in here that they're going to go over the road with this. That's their next task. I mean, that's the next objective is to go over the road, going on the highway and running loads. I mean, it's just gonna once that happens, and once there's a leader, and this truck manufacturer comes out and they can. I mean, because you're not talking about light loads. Those sand loads they max them out. So that was the one thing with the Tesla truck is it did not have the ability to pull heavy loads. It was like struggling. But it
yep,
sounds like with this Kodiak owned truck, this Kodiak Robotics, it sounds like they are making deliveries with these heavy trucks. I mean, you're talking 48,000 pounds
oh yeah, they're
that
going.
these trucks are hauling.
Yeah, and I wonder too, with the electric and all that coming into a fray with trucks too. I wonder, since a truck, and this might sound stupid, but I want to ask the question. You might know it, or maybe one of our listeners will, when we get them a number to call in or text, maybe they can explain it. But
Yeah,
I'm wondering, with the bigger trucks, will there be, with since there's so much more room on that truck to put sprockets and chains or whatever on it, could they really possibly charge themselves going down the road? Which I don't know with the car if they really could, because the cars, everything is so compact. I mean, you can't work on a vehicle no more. You can't get your hand inside.
Right.
You can barely put water or oil in it. Otherwise, there ain't no room. They got it so. But with the truck being so much, longer and wider, if they can develop that, which I would think somebody would work on that, because then that kind of takes care of the using the energy, because no matter if we got a fuel shortage, we're going to have an energy shortage, stopping and getting recharged and all that. And if there ain't a driver in there that ain't really got per se a time code, that's got to be in and out. If they could ever make them to where they are kind of recharged, well, not 100%, but if they can
Right.
gain 25% of load, especially the OTR guys, that I mean, that's a whole nother level of the infrastructure formed. I think it would hurt jobs for sure. But
It will. Yeah. And I think, I mean, just to go over charging real quick, I think they're going to have to find a way where they're going to have battery rental companies where you can just, because the charging right now anyway, it'll probably change. It'll improve with over time with with technology advancements and stuff like that. But right now the charging takes so long. I believe it takes 2.5 hours to fully charge a truck. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's what I remember hearing. It takes 2.5 hours to fully charge a semi truck right now. And Kodiak they don't mention that in this article by FreightWaves. They don't mention how long it takes to charge these trucks, but I would imagine they're going to have some battery rental company where you pull in, and as long as you're a subscriber,
mm-hmm.
you'll your battery will be taken out. It'll be charged somewhere in a holding station, and then you'll just get a new battery and pop
that's
it in and go.
that's a good idea, because
Yeah.
that's the biggest issue I think, because there's no infrastructure for any kind of
Right.
electric. So that's the biggest thing and the biggest hurdle. But that I hadn't heard of that idea. But that's really a good idea. I think that might be a good field to get into, because at some point it's going to happen.
It is. It is. So anyway, yeah, it's kind of scary for driver jobs. I mean, I think there's still going to be some need for drivers, and and drivers want more local and regional runs anyway. So
Yeah.
most driver that's kind of like why we're in this predicament, why we got to fix it, is because most drivers, especially the new ones getting in, they don't want to run over the road. They want to be closer to home. They want to be closer to their families, and
Yep.
so it should make. This article says that there are, what did it say? 400,000 trucking accidents a year. And an accident related to a semi is going to be serious.
Yep.
So you're talking about making the road safer, less delays, I would imagine too,
Oh,
with autonomous trucks, because you're not going to have, you don't have drivers getting tired anymore.
tired,
So,
oversleep, don't get
yep.
up, get going on time, or the good one. Oh, I'm over here at so and so. I'm about an hour away, and they hadn't even gotten their truck, and it's 5 hours from where they're supposed to be at. Yeah, so
Yeah,
what
exactly.
happened?
Yep.
That's for sure.
Yep. Or stop along the way for God knows what to get out and,
I
stretch their legs, and an hour turns into 3 hours, and,
I had a driver that I actually knew the guy and recruited him to one of my fleet owners. He was from where I live in the area, and he was running loads up to North Carolina. Well, 2 or 3 days he was late every day for his pickup and delivery in North Carolina, and we finally started pinging him, and he was just never leaving this truck stop. He had done fell in love with the parking lot girl and would not leave. Dude, we got the business to take care of, and he finally went go rescue the truck. He was just submitting, I guess. I mean, he wouldn't leave, so he wouldn't have that problem no more either.
yep. Yep. Well, I knew guys that had girlfriends in every state,
Yeah, I can
and,
believe that.
yeah. So I
That's,
said, just don't get caught. Bob. You're gonna get in trouble one way or another. Someone's gonna find out.
that's right. Exactly.
Yeah. So no, but and okay. Well, let's go into the next. What's the next topic we were going to talk about? Oh, eggs.
Big.
So we were going to talk about nutrition. that was one of the subjects we wanted to touch on, driver, nutrition and eating on the road, and um, really get some feedback on where you guys eat, and how you stay healthy out there. And Justin wanted to share some stories, but this egg shortage is real from this influenza, and I guess they've lightened the FMCSA has lightened the regulations so due to the shortage. Um, but it's real. It's really bad. Much
Yes.
worse than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, they was I went, like I said, I went to, like I was telling you earlier, I went to Walmart Sunday morning. There was, and it's a decent sized super center. There was less than probably 50 cartons on a Sunday morning. I mean, it was
Wow.
wiped out because at my Walmart there's probably 6 or 7 freezers or refrigerator, part, and only one,
Yep.
like 2 shelves had eggs. And then I did see, I believe it was in California somewhere, I seen where an egg truck, a tractor trailer was wrecked, and eggs were all over the road during this shortage too.
Oh my God. So we're already short.
Yeah,
My God. Well, they're
yeah.
saying in some places, and I haven't seen this by me. I think they're more like right now. I think they're approaching $5 or $6 here in Tampa, but they're saying that they've seen egg prices shoot up for a dozen eggs over $10.
I can believe it because with what happened with me, Walmart went up $1, and then I actually went to my local grocery store in my little small town, and they're $8 for just a pack of
Wow.
regular large eggs. So I could easily see $10 in certain places for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy, but
Well, so yeah, let's go into
yeah.
you'd
So
mentioned the other day about staying healthy on the road. I think it's so important. I've had drivers that I've managed, that work out. They're good about keeping weights with them in the truck.
hmm
They work out. They take walks. They try and eat as good as they can, but truck stops don't really have great food to offer.
no,
Um,
no, it was pitiful. Like I was telling you, I was coming back from Memphis, so I stopped in my local Loves to just get a drink and maybe something to snack on. And I just started this carnivore diet, and of course I can't have nothing but meat, cheese, and milk, and I ain't even supposed to have milk. And I walk in, and of course I'm gonna get a bottle of water or whatever. But I kept walking around, and I've always known that the truckers don't have anything good to eat. I mean, most truck stops got a fast food joint. Probably the best thing they get fast food is Subway, and
yeah,
it's the best thing for you, but it's like the best of all evils. And like the one that I stop in's got pizza, which is the worst thing a truck driver could probably eat. And me and you truly are not that much different. We work at our computers most days. We're
yeah.
sick.
I sit most of the day. I try and work out. I try and do pickleball as much as I can. I've gotten into pickleball to try and stay active, and it's something I like, something that I enjoy, and it gets me out and moving around. The biggest thing I got to get back into is some sort of weights, and
Yeah, I mean,
I've
and
got through pickleball I got some good cardio, but I mean I feel like these truck stop. I mean you almost need like to have some kind of gym or something.
well, I was going to tell you, I worked with a couple guys last year, and they had a good idea. They bobtailed to a Planet Fitness, and they are
Hmm.
members of Planet Fitness. Planet
Hmm.
Fitness will allow you to park your truck in their parking lot.
Oh wow.
Only the truck, not the trailer, but they'll allow you to park truck. So you can go in, if you're a member, of course, you can work out, but you got a clean shower that you don't have to pay for or deal with. And they've got most,
Yeah, I didn't even think of it. Yeah, all the Planet Fitnesses have nice showers, and they even have some of them have those massage beds.
yeah, they got massage beds, they have jacuzzis that you can get in.
That's a good idea.
A lot
Yeah,
of
if they'll let you park your truck over there, that's phenomenal.
And a lot of them will go, later in the evening too, when there's not very many people there, so they're not taking up the parking lot. And so with that, but I'd love to know, especially when we're able to start interacting with our guests and our followers and stuff. I'd love to know for somebody that's got a good idea of how they prep food or where they go on the road to make a meal or what they do. So somebody else that's in the same boat. Like, hey, that's a way I can either save a few dollars or eat a little more healthy, because I could only imagine I gain weight and I eat as healthy as possible, but I'm sitting all day long, just like a truck driver, not moving a lot. I go and walk as much as possible,
Yeah.
and can, but it's so easy, and I know they can't eat as healthy as me in my own kitchen because I'm in my own kitchen every night.
It
So
goes on a lot faster than it comes off. It's
it,
so,
into that,
man, I feel like I do so well and I'll lose a couple pounds and or keep it steady. And I've lost probably, I guess, about 30 pounds over the last year. I was approaching 300. I was, big boy, and I've lost about 30 pounds over the last year. So, and that was the heaviest I'd ever been in my life. And I was like, enough's enough. But now getting this next 30 off is so hard. But
mm,
man, if I have a cheat day, it's like I can put on 5 pounds in a minute. I mean, just
you can
like
look.
it's nothing.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's really tough, and I've learned a lot through the carnivore diet, and a lot of the foods that we eat automatically just put weight on you.
Yeah.
All the stuff that's in the foods and everything. And that's one thing that got me thinking when I was walking around the trucks, the loves I was at. There was nothing that probably the healthiest thing I seen was boiled eggs in a little little cup, and they had some cheese, and but all I'm just thinking, man, what are these? There's not even anything for them to buy there that they could heat up later, or eat just cheese and that. And of course, if you're a carnivore, they did have some high dollar dead gum beef jerky. I don't think I could spend $60 for a container, a little container of beef jerky, but
Right.
there's just not anything. And like I said,
No, I think around here in Florida, I don't know if they have them by you in Tennessee, and I wish they kind of do something in the truck stops like what Wawa does.
yeah,
There's I love going to Wawa and getting a sandwich, getting a sub. It's fresh meat.
mm-hmm.
The vegetables are good. They've got smoothies. I mean, I'm doing a freaking ad for Wawa, but
But
on the truck side, they need something like that where there's some kind of fresh deli.
yes,
Within the truck stop. I mean, Wawa does it for normal vehicles. Like, why can't a TA or a Love's put in a nice? I mean, and it's not a Subway. It's fresh food. It's not frozen, and it's brought in every day. Um, and you can get, if you don't want food, you get a smoothie, and it's all, they got a whole health food like area that's cold food. There's even their grab and go stuff is not bad. So they need something like that.
and I think the powers to be, the love, the pilots and the TAs and stuff. I think they would be surprised how much guys and gals alike would buy that stuff, because you can only eat so many cheeseburgers or so many French fries and pizza or chicken, strips. I mean, there's only so much that can eat, because your customer is eating that 5 to 7 days a week. So
Yeah.
fresh options, because I know guys that stop, if they got a refrigerator or something, they'll just eat bologna sandwiches, ham sandwiches, just because you know greasy food can really bring you down mentally, and in just a mindset of wanting to keep going. You get something fresh, you feel good. It makes you feel good thinking about it, and a lot
Well,
of
and you're full too, right? Like
yeah,
I know when I go eat fast food, I go to McDonald's, even, go to Chick-fil-A, which I feel is relatively healthy. I go, Taco Bell, Taco Hell, whatever you want to call it.
or what time.
I'm never full like I am when my wife cooks,
Mm-hmm.
and she makes me a simple steak sandwich with veggies and stuff in it. I'm full. I don't need anything else. But if so that that McDonald's, that fast food stuff, it just doesn't fill you up. So you're
Nope.
eating more of it, and it's no good.
Well, and two, I have this problem, and that's one reason why I did the carnivore diet, is because I actually stay full by
So
eating.
tell me about the carnivore diet. Like, what do you eat for like breakfast,
I don't eat.
lunch, and dinner?
Eat breakfast if you want. I don't eat breakfast because I'm not
Yeah.
hungry yet. Typically for
Yeah.
lunch, I'll eat a sirloin steak, either some boiled eggs or some fried eggs. I'll eat the
Mm.
same thing at dinner. Uh, I'll eat a ribeye every once in a while just because I'm trying to keep the cost down because it is an expensive diet. I eat a lot of chicken legs, chicken thighs, uh, grilled. I can still have a hamburger, just can't have the meat or the vegetables on it. So I'll make a few patties, throw some cheese on it, and
Do
I've
you
lost
eat the bread? Do you eat the bread with it, or
no bread, no vegetables, no really nothing. If it's basically the carnivore diet, there's different carnivore diets because you can be really strict and do salt pepper only. You can be what they call a dirty carnivore and eat a few more things. But realistically, you're supposed to be just like a caveman. You eat meat.
but now you can eat as much meat as you want, right?
Yeah, the more fat, the better. They want the
Okay.
fat key. The more fat you eat, the more fat you're gonna burn. So
Okay.
they want when you go pick out a steak, they want you to get the one that's the most marble. They want, and of course, I like that part of the steak anyway because that's where the
I
flavors.
love that. Yeah.
It's right up my alley. But then one thing my daughter's even told me that she's really noticed is when I would eat supper, and we eat a very good supper before I got on the diet. I made 4 course meals because I wanted my daughter to eat well, and but I was hungry an hour later, and it was
Yeah.
miserable. I get mad because I'm busy all through the day, so I don't eat a lot because I don't have time. I'm talking, I'm drinking a lot of water to keep my mouth dry. I don't think about it, but 8 o'clock at night, I'm finally done with everything. I'm watching a television program or whatever, and I instantly want a bag of chips, or I want this,
Yeah.
want
Oh,
that.
chips are my weakness.
Yeah, and see, the only thing I can have, which is not bad, is I can have regular pork skins because if you
Okay.
look, only salt and pork, that's all it is. So and
What is this? Regular pork skins?
yeah, just regular pork skins, no flavored or nothing. You just have to get
I
that.
don't think I've ever had that.
Yeah, it's just original. There's nothing on them. No barbecue, no hot, nothing. It just has to be because it's just pork and salt. And so I can
Where do
imagine.
you get them at? Where do you get the rate? You can just get that at the grocery store.
Yeah,
Regular pork skins.
yep, just regular pork. Fried pork skins. Yep, and
Hmm.
don't waste anything on a
So
pig.
now, can you eat like buffalo wings or
I
anything
do,
like?
I do. They're not supposed to be, but I eat them because if you got them without the sauce on them, that's the way you're supposed to eat them.
So I get my buffalo wing. I put the sauce on the side. I always dip my
Then
sauces.
that's even better because I actually had some yesterday. I got some at the store because they had them on sale because of the football game, and but I just kind of do. I've lost a little bit of weight. I've lost probably about 8 pounds in 2 weeks. So it's coming off, but
How long you been on it?
a little over 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm still not 100%. I kind of weaning myself off. I don't really do any sweets anyway, but I still have like a diet Mountain Dew a day just because I need that bump through the day to get me through the day because I love a
Yeah.
diet. So I'm still drinking
Yeah.
it.
Try that Celsius. Try the Celsius or Alani. It's like 200 milligrams of caffeine.
Yeah,
I and you shouldn't really have more than one. There are sometimes where I'll splurge and I'll get a second if I'm really dragging, but it works for me better than coffee, and they say it's healthier. So I mean, I don't, probably in 10 years they'll find out that it caused cancer, but
right, but it is an interesting diet for sure, and I definitely got to try out to drink. But I do think one thing that truckers have an issue with because I have it and because I sit a lot is just the board eating. How
yeah.
bored
Oh,
because
yeah. That's
doing.
like with me with a bag of chips. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll just sit there just because I want something to do, and I'll sit there with a bag of Doritos. Salt and vinegar is actually my weakness, but I'll sit there and I'll go through three-quarters of the bag, and I really should probably just finish it off by that point. I feel making myself feel better by putting the rest of the bag back in the pantry. But
exactly. And and that's the only things they have to choose. At a gas station, truck stop, and I wished I love your ideal. I wish they would make a. They don't mind selling 4 or 5, 6 different stalls of coffee in there. Well, why can't
right,
they put a little? little sandwich shop or fresh.
Yeah, a little deli or something. Yeah, I mean, it would not. I mean, it probably wouldn't add to their staff much, if any at all.
No, no,
And
they could pre-make it if they wanted to, and
yeah,
just I know they got a little bit of that in their middle little circle aisle where they have their fruit and stuff in a cup, but you don't know most of that. I think is brought in, in a reefer trailer, brought in and it's been made a week ago. But if you just have a slicer and some bread and make up a few. And I mean, everything's so technologically now. I mean, Lord, they could run it off their app and the trucker out there getting a gas and go, hey, I want to put this order in for this, this, and this. When he gets through pumping fuel, he can come in, boom, sandwich is ready. He ain't,
yeah, yeah. Oh, everything you can do now from your
yeah.
phone or what,
But
ha- have it ready to go. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's hard. I mean, because I know anytime I'm on the road, traveling or whatever I got to do. I mean, I'm looking for something that's the easiest and the least expensive, and that usually means fast food, and that hasn't done anything for my figure. That's for sure.
mine neither. And the even the fast food choice, like we said, even in a truck stop, ain't the best choice.
Right.
It's they don't. I mean, like I argued with the people that I live close to the one in Walden, Mississippi, and they built it, and this is what I call the smaller side. It's probably got 75, parking spots, and it's basically really a big, commercial for cars,
Yeah.
and they put a damn pizza place in there. Well, the city already had 3 pizza places, and like they're on a U.S. highway, and I'm like, truckers ain't gonna eat pizza.
Yeah.
Not enough to put one in. I understood why they didn't put a subway in. It was right across the street. Which if I'd have been that subway, I'd have got out of my lease and went into the
And
Love.
went to the truck stop. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm like, y'all could at least put something in that anything other than a pizza place. I mean, at least give the pork. And that takes a lot of the square foot away of what could be something to eat, you know,
Right.
because it's one of the smaller. It's not one that's got three, 2 or 3 places in there to eat, and it's just like, man, y'all missing the boat, and they missed it anyway because, like I've told you, it's only an hour from Memphis, and none of the guys want to park in Memphis because their truck stop it might be the worst located truck stop in all of America. The Loves
Well,
and
most truck
horrible.
stops are in bad locations.
Yes,
Most truck stops are
they're
just
both of them are horrible, and so they're overfilled there all the time. It's like, man, who planned this? I mean, hell, did you not ask the truck driver what they thought? Because if
right.
they known they had a choice of here and there, they're gonna choose the hour, get up an hour earlier in the morning to feel safe in the morning when they got up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I am curious. I do want to get some drivers on, talk to them about their diet,
Mm-hmm.
find some healthy guys. I mean, I remember we recruited a guy. This was quite a few years ago, but he was probably in his mid to late 60s, super fit. And I mean, he said, every time he got to a location like the shipper or the
Mm-hmm.
receiver, anytime he pulled in someplace, he was doing 25 push-ups every time. So just
So
got
good.
active, and then made it a point to walk. Some shippers and receivers don't really appreciate you getting out of your truck, walking around the area, but he said he
Nope.
would if he could. Stretch his legs and walk. If he could walk a mile and it was 2 laps around the building, he'd do it. So and then the same thing with truck stops. I mean, he said every chance he got, he would get out of his truck, do his push-ups, and then go walk. And he was in phenomenal shape. His arms looked
Hmm.
fantastic. I mean, he was good. So, and 60 in his mid 60s. So
Wow. No, you can't beat
yeah,
that.
just you got to find any way you can to stay active.
And that's not a bad idea for these truck stops. And I know the one out on I-80's got it. Why don't they have a walk path? It
Yeah.
ain't that much more asphalt to pour
Right.
a small little path all the way around the property just to make it could be I mean, it's definitely a benefit, and I mean not
Right.
everybody, of course, but I mean, why not want to help your industry in health ways? Because there's
Well, and drivers are pulling in there, right? If they know you got a walk path, they know that they can get out and stretch their legs, and they know they can do it safely.
yep,
They're more than they're going to spend money in the store, you
no,
know.
exactly,
And
exactly. I mean,
if they know you got healthy food, they're going to come there.
yeah, I agree because they're and I think the first group that ever does it is going to reap the benefits because
Yeah.
it's everybody's going to be new and fresh to go and then it'll be
Well, it's like when they started bringing Wawas down here in Florida. If you know, back in I think in 17 or 18, it may have been a little later than that. I mean, now they're everywhere. I mean,
mm,
every other corner seems like there's a Wawa, and it's because they've got good food, they've got healthy food,
yep,
they've got a deli, they've got those protein shakes, and that matters to people nowadays. So
that's right.
yeah.
I agree with you on that 100%.
Well, I know we want to get some guests on here. We need to have a couple drivers come on here. I'm working already on um, getting some executives on for some carriers, having them answer some tough questions. We want to get some, the drivers who are listening, write in with some questions you may have for those carriers, those mid-sized to larger carriers. Maybe if you're looking for a new job, what you're looking for in those carriers. Um, Definitely comment on our Facebook page. You can find us on Trucker Talk Radio on Facebook, on Instagram. We're on TikTok even. Looks like TikTok's going to stick around for a little bit. So I also want to get into talking about truck maintenance.
Mm,
That's it's so expensive now. It's insane, and it takes so long for these for these shops to get a truck in their doors and fixed. What used to take, it seems like, a couple days now takes a couple weeks.
yep. Parts aren't
So
come by no more. You got
they
the
aren't.
computer issues because most of the people aren't smart enough to.
And it really doesn't even matter how old the truck is. I mean, I was consulting for a company, brand new, 2025 trucks, and still had issues. I mean, we bought them brand new. And I mean, the AC went out on the first. I mean, he hadn't even put tags on the truck yet. He was just going. He was going to the company to get his tags and stickers, and his AC went out.
That
Brand
ain't a,
new truck.
yeah, that ain't a good start because AECs is just as important as the the
It
most the truck
it
driver.
really is. So I want to get into that. I want to have some maintenance experts come on, talk to drivers about what they can do um, to protect their truck and keep it rolling. Answer some questions. If drivers are having problems with any certain thing on their trucks, I'd like to have. We're getting ready to get set up to where we can take calls in on live podcasts. So, and once we get this schedule solidified and get things going, we'll start taking calls live and they can pose questions to any guests that we have on. So.
And another thing about maintenance, get into about how to actually put money back for maintenance plus preventive maintenance, but just have money put back because your truck is going to break down. There's just no
It's going to break down. Yeah, it
where
is.
bad as you
It
got the best truck in the world, it don't take anything because you can have a 15-cent part go bad and you're on the side of the road that quick.
and it's going to break down at the worst time. It never happens at the right time.
Always.
you know, you go on vacation for a week, and then you come back on the road, and second day out, you break down, and then
Exactly.
you're down for 2 more weeks.
Yeah, my 20 years, that's probably one thing I have learned in this industry is it never breaks down the day before you go on vacation where you can stick it in the shop while you're gone and not worry
Yeah,
about it. It don't
yep.
work.
I've had guys put their trucks in the shop while they're on vacation, and then what they had repaired was fine, but then something else,
Yeah. Well,
went
the,
down.
the one thing that I have noticed about the trucks nowadays is when you repair something, it seems like a truck is almost like the human body. And what I mean by that is you have an issue over here with this part of the truck. You fix that. Really, all you've done, in the way I look at it, is you've moved that pressure point that was causing it. It's now weakened something up the chain line of the truck, or
You're
you
right.
just push that pressure to somewhere else. And that is why a lot of times I think guys get mad. Well, that mechanic didn't fix it. Well, he actually fixed what was wrong at that point. Now it's moved just like cancer in a way. It's moved
Uh-huh.
the network to either
To
you weak
another part of the body.
right
Yep.
till you work it through it all. You're going to have multiple, and that kills a truck owner. And I think a lot of that might come down to how much pre you do of maintenance of it, of staying on top of stuff, doing your PMs, you know, getting out, checking your fluids, any of that, doing your oil, greasing your fittings, and anything that you can do ahead of time, even if it's a week or two early or a week or two late, still better than not doing it all. Oh, I'll get it next time. No, you got to get in there, and when you're home for your reset or
Yeah. Yeah. Too many times trucks are just limping along, and you're causing that what is a small problem to turn into a huge problem, and then you're down because you don't have the money to fix it.
exactly, or your best friend, the DOT, will show up and done seen something that was not done just right, and he'll remind you about it real quick.
That's right. That's right. All right, Jay. Well, good
All right.
talking to you, and then we'll get back at it later this week. And again, we appreciate all of our listeners. If you have any ideas, write into us, ask us questions, and we're going to have some good guests come on here in the coming shows.
Yep, sounds great. We'll talk to you later, and it's enjoyed being on today, and hope y'all, like I said, he sends in some questions. We'd love to hear your comments and different things that we could do or add to the show. And y'all have a good evening.
Everybody drive safe out there. All
All
right.
right.